My regrets run deep, 2 times the betrayal. If I could go back and change the mistakes I made, I would. I did not want to hurt that man the way I did. I will forever wear this guilt on me. Not only did I lose my marriage, but I caused someone to be severely harmed, and my ex-husband suffered double because not only did I cheat on him, but he received a jail sentence. I think back in my life and wonder, when did I become so heartless? How can I betray a man a second time after he forgave me the first time? True story, I appreciate it if I could share my story with your audience. If you could kindly email me if you plan to read my story to your audience. I believe I became heartless in 2005. I was engaged to an abusive man. He didn't physically or verbally abuse me. Don't think that. But this man constantly cheated on me. And when I'd find out, he'd just shower me with gifts. It's as if he had no care about my feelings of being betrayed, and it sort of made me heartless. We were engaged for 4 years and he never stopped cheating. I pretty much started to accept it and used it to get new things. He was very financially stable. Money wasn't an issue for him at all. I had everything I wanted, and during that 4-year engagement, I started to cheat as well. I probably had 3 different men in rotation during that time, and one of them was in love with me. I'd lie to him and make him believe I had no one. He had no idea I was engaged. I'd never wear my ring around any of the men on my roster. My fiance traveled so much it was easy for me to do this. My fiance had a key to my apartment because he paid for it and got it for me. One day he came back from a work trip unexpectedly and walked right into me and one of the guys from my roster, the one that loved me, getting it in on the couch. My fiance beat the crap out of him, so bad that he cried. I'd never seen a grown man cry like that and beg for mercy. After he ran out and my fiance started yelling at me, I realized I was heartless because I didn't care. That I was caught, and I didn't care that someone just got beaten up and hurt. I even called to check on him. My fiance and I had a shouting match, and it ended with us being intimate. After he told me to never disrespect him again, and I swore I wouldn't, I didn't because I left him after that. I made sure I got everything that I could, including the car, and I was gone. I wasn't able to feel someone else's pain until I married and cheated on my husband for the second time. 2012 is when I met my now ex-husband, Mitch. I'm still in love with Mitch. He's shown me what true love is. There were several times where I passed up opportunities to cheat on him because I chose him first. But sometimes that little devil creeps up and pushes me to be heartless. I was never like that until I met my ex-fiance in 2005. I was a loving woman who only ever wanted one person. Speaking with my therapist was almost convinced that this all started actually in my childhood. So I told a story about when my mom took me to her friend's house one day. It was after school, and I didn't know who this friend was. It was a male, and I remember my mom hugging this man really tight, and it looked like they kissed. But I wasn't sure. I remember asking my mom if that was my uncle or something, or who was he. She told me it's mom's friend, but don't tell daddy about it. I do remember when we got home, my dad was very upset, and they were arguing, and I specifically remember my mother lying, saying that I wanted ice cream after school, so she took me to get ice cream. I almost spoke up and said, "We didn't have ice cream, Mommy. What are you talking about? I never asked for ice cream." "But I'll take some now, LOL. But every time I tried to say something, one of my parents will start talking and they're just yelling at each other. So I never got that out. But according to my therapist, I witnessed betrayal at that point, and it's always been in the back of my mind. Infidelity. My parents are still married today, by the way. When I met Mitch, he swept me off my feet. That first day, I knew I would marry him. He was the sweetest, most polite man I had ever met. I kissed him that night. So we met in the Walgreens parking lot. I had my music on, window down, during my lunch break, singing away. I had no idea that Mitch was sitting on the curb. He walked up to my window and said, "So you just try to run people over, huh, and then start singing karaoke in your car like nothing happened?" I apologized and said, "I had no idea you were there. I swear I didn't see you." It was odd that I missed him and almost hit him. He told me I had a beautiful voice. I thanked him and we talked most of my break. I did invite him to sit in my car. He didn't because he was a bit dirty. I didn't care. I found him so attractive. We had such an amazing conversation. He worked as a construction worker. Physique-wise, exactly what I love in a man. And again, he was so polite. We ended up meeting later that evening and I couldn't help myself. As soon as I got out of the car and saw him, I kissed him. He said, "Wow." Then he kissed me back. We went to see a movie. It was nice and cozy. He was so strong and smelled so good. I knew I was going to be his wife. Fast forward to 2016. Mitch proposed to me. I was the happiest woman in the world. I was so excited and eager to marry and have children. We married that year and things were great until Mitch lost his job and couldn't find work anymore. He received unemployment and I told him we'd work through it, and I started working as a store clerk and saleswoman at Macy's. I'm not going to lie, that wasn't how I imagined my marriage to be. I didn't want to work and I grew tired of it, and I started to resent Mitch. Mitch did everything he could and felt so bad that he couldn't take care of me anymore. I did love him, but I had this anger because he was not providing like I wanted him to. I started to punish him by not giving him bedroom action. He'd grow frustrated and worked harder. Since we weren't having bedroom action, it made it that much easier to cheat on Mitch with my well-off ex-fiance. Plus, he was willing to give me money, and I wanted to quit working. After being with my ex-fiance, I quit my job, and Mitch questioned how I was able to get money to pay for things and half of the rent. I told him not to worry, but his suspicions only grew more, and he found messages between me and my ex-fiance. And it was clear that my ex was giving me money and we were having bedroom action. Mitch nearly had a mental breakdown. He was hospitalized for 3 weeks. I was by his side every day and used the money I'd gotten from my ex to pay the medical bills. That was one last thing we needed hanging over our heads. So while Mitch was in the hospital, I did sleep with my ex for a certain amount of money, and that money helped cover medical bills plus more. When Mitch got better, we went to counseling immediately. I swore to Mitch that I'll never cheat again, and I apologized. It took another 6 months before my ex-husband found work again. He landed a project management position with the design build firm and got an incredible pay boost. Things were great. Then the pandemic came. And Mitch, being that he didn't really hold the type of degrees his colleagues held, he was furloughed from work. Here we go again. This time Mitch was angry at me, stating that if I didn't want such expensive things, then maybe he'd be able to save for situations like this. But I require way too much. That really ticked me off, and we were at it the whole summer. The bedroom action didn't stop though, but we weren't getting along. I decided to start walking trails and taking hikes and getting out more. I refused to go back to work. I held off as long as I could, but eventually I had to start bringing in money somehow. Well, guess who came along messaging me on Facebook? My ex-fiance. He had been messaging me before, but I blocked him. So, honestly, I'd ignore him sometimes, and I'd block him, then unblock him. I can sit here and admit that to you guys, because me and my husband would have an argument. I didn't tell him that I unblocked him, my ex-fiance, but he sent me a message and it was like perfect timing. He was asking me if I'd like to go to dinner and told me that he was now a changed man. He said he no longer wants to be with several women. He only wants me, and I am the one for him. And he's always loved me, and he'll do anything to get me back. Hearing those words, true story, felt really good, even though I had a husband, but deep down inside, I knew I really loved my husband. I fell out of love with my ex-fiance because of how he treated me. Yeah, he has money. He has things going for himself, but I could never see myself marrying him. I never wanted to divorce my husband, but I did need money. We needed money. My husband couldn't do it by himself. He needed me, so I did what I had to do. But this time I made sure to not expose the cheating. At least I thought I did. I hid it very well. Text messages and Facebook messages. Deleting everything after every conversation we had. I even went as far as using an old phone and getting that phone turned back on with the new service. But the way my husband found out that I was dealing with my ex-fiance was because my ex-fiance freaking told him. He suffered the consequences for that too. My ex-fiance told me that I needed to pick either him or stay with my poor, struggling husband. I told him that I loved my husband and there's no way I could leave him, but I do still have feelings for him. That's what I told him. I said to just give me time. My ex-fiance pretended as if he was okay with that and wanted to give me time. Little did I know, he contacted my husband, Mitch. This day I was supposed to go see my ex-fiance. That morning, Mitch was actually really weird, as if he was angry with me. I got afraid that he found something in my messages or on my phone, but I knew I deleted everything, so I didn't know why he was so upset. I went to him and I told him everything was going to be okay. We're going to make it through this, just like we did before. I have money saved up, so don't worry. You'd think I was spending a lot of money, but I was saving money because I was afraid this could happen again. This is what I told Mitch. I was actually getting money from my ex-fiance, though, the whole time. My ex-husband was pretty much just ignoring me, and I told him that I was going to visit family about an hour and a half away from where we were living. But in all actuality, I was going to be with my ex-fiance, and he knew it the whole time. I get to the restaurant where I was to meet my ex-fiance, and he's there with this big smirk on his face. Weird smirk. I should have known something was up. He grabs me, kisses me, and we go inside. We order our food around the time our food comes out, maybe a good 60 to 120 seconds later. I see my ex-husband walking towards us. I said, oh my gosh, he found out. So stupid of me. I must have left my Facebook message open. I forgot to delete something. He knew someone. He knew somehow. He found out. He gets there to the table, and my ex-fiance says, hey, Mitch. So I told you, I wouldn't lie to you, man. Mitch is standing there, darn near in tears, just staring at me. It made me cry. All I could say was sorry, but I said it in a whisper, and I stared at him, and I just kept saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What happened next landed Mitch in jail. And my ex-fiance actually sued Mitch as well. Mitch picked up a fork from the table and lodged it right into my ex-fiance's side of his neck. It kind of hit his shoulder. He got him really good though. Everyone in the restaurant screamed. I screamed. You've never heard of anything happening like this in Eureka Springs. It was all over the news. Every time I seen it, I couldn't believe this was my life, and I caused all of this. I'm the reason for this. My ex-husband received 30 months in jail. Not only that, my ex-fiance sued Mitch. I begged my ex-fiance not to do it, But he did. When Mitch was released, we were already divorced. Mitch somehow was able to get a divorce attorney while he was in prison, and I didn't make it difficult for him. We did speak twice, and he begged me not to make this hard for him. Please make it easy. And I did, and we divorced while he was serving time. I did get to speak to Mitch when he was released. I was actually there, along with his family. He hugged me. I grabbed him when he stopped hugging me and was asking to speak to him. He didn't want to, but I needed to speak to him. The conversation was just us going back and forth. Well, more so him yelling at me, which I understand. He told me that whatever job he does land, his pay is going to be garnished because of the lawsuit from my ex-fiance. I promised I'll pay every dime and give him more because he deserved it. I had money. I still have money. But Mitch didn't want money. He didn't want anything from me, and I destroyed this man. I'm here to tell everyone that money, materialistic things, they don't mean anything. I sit here in this nice apartment downtown as I'm writing this email to Mr. True Story, and I'm not happy at all. I'm very sad. I see a therapist 3 times a week, and sometimes I contemplate offing myself. I saw Mitch working downtown. At least he's working, and he's able to get employment, doing the same stuff that he used to do, more so with the city crew. And my ex-fiance wants nothing to do with me, not even if it's a quick hangout because he has an event to go to or something. I don't get money from him anymore, and he doesn't deal with me. Like I said, I do have money in savings. I'll work for a little bit, then I'll quit, and I'll go back to work, then I'll quit again. But I have enough money to do that. But I'm not happy. I'm sad all the time. I self-medicate, and I smoke a little to ease my pain. But I'm not a happy person, as you guys could see in this email. I'm not here to brag about what I did to a man. I'm here to share my story. No man in the world deserves to be treated the way Mitch was treated. Yeah, he's doing okay now. He's working. He's out in the free world. But look at the time he lost, the betrayal he went through. True story, I heard on your other channel a story about a situation where a wife had cheated and the man went as far as forgiving her. But at the last minute, he couldn't do it, and he divorced her, and he moved on with his life, and he was very happy. During your thoughts, you were asking a question. Is it worth it? And I sat there and I read those comments, and a lot of people replied to you saying that it's not worth it at all. Were you referring to marriage? I believe that's what you were referring to. I wouldn't say that it's not worth it. It's a beautiful thing if the right people meet and marry. Anyway, thanks for allowing me to share my email. Please let me know if you share with your audience. Wow. Oh man, you are a piece of crap. I'm sorry. And I emailed you back and I told you, yes, I'll share your story, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. You know, when I give my thoughts, I'm going to be honest. You know, I even told you in the email, like, you're evil. You're evil. And I'm going to say it here. Do not ever get with anybody else. They don't waste your time. You're a user. Maybe you change. I don't know. Maybe you change. I can't see a person like you changing. Guys, this is why you don't forgive. Don't be forgiving. Don't be like, who's that? I just saw on Club Shay Shay. You guys heard of Club Shay Shay? Shannon Sharp's show. He just interviewed Kel Mitchell. And Kel Mitchell is talking about how he was engaged to this woman. She terminated the pregnancy and then admitted it wasn't yours. That's why I did that. He forgave her. She cheated on him, got pregnant by another man. I don't know if they kept the baby. He didn't say anything about termination. I didn't watch the interview. I just saw the clip. Then, while they were married, oh, by the way, he forgave her. And while they were married, she freaking got pregnant by someone else again. Like, why are you forgiving this woman? What is it about her that It doesn't make any freaking sense. Guys, don't be forgiving people that cheat on you and disrespect you. For what? Mitch forgave this woman for cheating on him, and look where it landed him, in jail. And he got sued. It's not worth it, man. No, it's not worth it. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh my gosh. That is sad, man. I hope Mitch is okay, man. I'm thinking about Mitch here. You and your ex-fiance are pieces of crap. And I told you, if I'll do the story, but I'm going to be honest. You said that's fine. That's completely fine. Man. Guys, if you want to send in a story, send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That's truestorynation@gmail.com. We'll catch you guys at the next one.